In the news this morning, we have cricket updates from the Australia versus India Test match, Super Smash games yesterday, as well as a tour about to kick off over there in Sri Lanka. In the rugby, news around the Women's Six Nations and also the Heineken European Champions Cup and the European Challenge Cup that's coming up, or that was due to come up this weekend. Over in the NBA, was action yesterday as well, with the Lakers in action, who top the Western Conference. The America's Cup boats have been out on the water again, and the Wellington Phoenix in the A-League have heard back about the red card that they got at the weekend. Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing. Hi, I'm Paul. I'll be your host today, and this is your best way to start the day up to speed with all of the important sports news. We come to you at 7 a.m. every single morning here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter as well. You can also listen to the show as a podcast. Just search for New Zealand Sports Radio on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those wonderful places, and just download the app onto your phone. Let's kick off with that football news. And the Phoenix, yes, have had an apology for the red card, saying that it should not have been given. So we'll have to wait and see if Alex Ruffer does get suspended or whether they rescind the red card. They said that that the VAR shouldn't have referred it, and the referee should not have overturned the yellow card and made it a red card. Ruffer had his eyes closed and was falling down when the incident happened. So there definitely was no intent, and he couldn't see what he was doing. And they also it did not appear there was any reckless. It wasn't reckless either. So let's hope he doesn't get a suspension, or at least it's as short as possible. They're allowed to make it to. Over in the America's Cup, and the arbitration panel has allowed the Team New Zealand to have some informal practices against the other three boats. Yesterday, it was against Team Ineos, and during the practice, the Team New Zealand capsized their boat. No one was injured, and there was no damage done, and the boat was righted soon afterwards. But spectacular crash there in the America's Cup. Just described as a little mistake, but little mistakes with these boats that are so powerful can lead to big incidents, as we've seen. Over in the NBA, and today at 2:30 p.m., the Mavericks will be taking on the Pelicans. Yes, Steve Adams back in action today, so we'll bring you obviously the result and how he went tomorrow morning on the morning sports briefing. Yesterday, the Lakers got a big win over the Rockets, 120-102, to take the lead in their conference. And the Clippers kept the pressure up there with 130-127 win over the Bulls. High-scoring one that was close there. That now means in the Western Conference, the Lakers are on 8-3, lead the way, with the Suns and Clippers both on 7 wins, just 1 win behind them. And then coming down, though, remember the Pelicans are on 4-5. So they really do need a run of wins to climb up the table. Over on the Eastern Conference side, and no change there, the 76ers and Celtics still top, with the Pacers and Magic following them. The 76ers are in action today against the Hawks, and the Celtics will be in action tomorrow against the Bulls. Over in the rugby and the Women's Six Nations, which is crucial this year as a preparation for the Women's Rugby World Cup that's going to be hosted here in New Zealand, has been postponed. Normally, this takes place at the same time as the Men's Six Nations on the same weekends with the same fixtures. And that would have started on the 6th of February. Due to the COVID and travel restrictions in Europe, no, that's not. They've decided that they'll be delaying the Women's Six Nations until April. with a lot of the players being amateur. Obviously, the ability to bubble, etc., is much harder on the women's side of the game. Also, this weekend, due to COVID, we're supposed to have the next Heineken European Champions Cup and European Challenge Cup group stages in the next 2 weekends, but due to COVID, those have now been postponed quite until when it has not been clear, or if they will be able to fit those fixtures in to the already very full schedule. We'll have to wait and see. There were suggestions at the weekend from a couple of the Premiership head coaches that perhaps they would bring forward, or should bring forward, Premiership games to create gaps later in the season for these to take place. We'll have to just wait and see what happens this coming weekend for domestic rugby in Europe. Moving on to the cricket then. First up, don't forget, on Thursday, Sri Lanka and England Test Series will take place. That's the next set of Test matches, and we'll keep you up to speed with how those are going here on the morning sports briefing every day at 7 a.m. Don't forget. Over in Australia, we had the third Test match between Australia and India, and boy, oh boy, what a cracker it was. The Australia going into the final day with lots of confidence, having declared their second innings and looking to bowl out India in this one. India had 3 players who were carrying various levels of injury, which definitely made the day very different for them. At one stage, actually looked like they had a good chance of chasing down the total, whilst Pujara and Pant were in there. That definitely looked, the win looked on. Pujara scoring 77 off 205 balls. He really was a wall at one end, whilst Pant scored 97 off 118, and the run rate was up there. Once those two went, though, it definitely looked like it's the chance of India winning the chase was off. Vihari and Ashwin came in and really did a fantastic effort. Vihari 23 runs off 161 balls there for a strike rate of just 14. So he really just laid anchor and blocked at one end. Ashwin with 39 off 128, similarly was taking no risks. Vihari with that hamstring injury, obviously running between the wickets wasn't on for quick singles. So I say injuries also playing their part. We discussed this Test match in quite some detail yesterday on the Swinging from the Hip show. You can catch that recording, as a podcast or here on Facebook, and catch up with all of that. There was also Super Smash action yesterday with the Auckland Hearts taking on the Canterbury Magicians. Auckland scoring 138 for 4 in their 20 overs, down with 33 at the top of the innings, and then Armstrong with 39 off 29 balls, and Sahari with 30 not out of 28 balls were the main power behind that total. Canterbury Magicians were all bowled out for 118 in the 20th over, losing the game by 20 runs. Strathwaite and Ibrahim, when they were in, scoring 32 and 31, the chase might have been on, but after that they just kept losing wickets too regularly. Huddleston with 3 wickets off for just 8 runs off her 3.2 overs led the bowling attack for Auckland. That now means in the women's table, if I just bring it up, sorry folks, that the Auckland Hearts are top of the table with 3 wins, a loss and an abandoned game. The closely followed by Wellington Blaze with 3 wins and 1 loss. They have a game in hand and could go back top of the table. Spirit in third, also on 3 wins and 2 losses. So very tight at the top of the table with Canterbury Magicians, 2 wins, a loss, and just that abandoned game. Over on the men's side, and the Kings took on the Aces. The Kings scoring 154 in their 20 overs, being powered by Boyle with 44 and Carter with 42 runs off just 28 balls at the end of the innings there. The Aces, in response, made 148 off their 20 overs, so got close, but not close enough. Soali was run out after his 55 off 42 balls. O'Donnell was undefeated on 50 at the end there off 44 balls. Couldn't quite get the job done. For the Kings, McConaughey with was 21 runs off his 4 overs, was the most economical of the bowlers, and Mitchell took a couple of wickets in there as well. That means now in the men's table that the the Wellington Firebirds, are still top of the table with 4 wins from their 4 games, chased by the Stags, with Country Kings in 3rd place there with 3 wins and 1 loss off their 4 games. Auckland Aces still bottom of the table with no wins from their 5 games so far. As you will have heard yesterday on the morning sports briefing, that the Nelson Super Slam happened, which is the first event of the GJ Gone Beach Tour for the beach volleyball. And I had a chat with Mike Watson, the winner of, or one of the members of the winning team on the men's competition. I'll be putting that video out this morning for you, so you can catch up with how the weekend went for him and how he's been going since we had a chat back in sort of April, May time with from the on the long talk. So catch that on the Facebook page and also YouTube as well later this morning. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all of the important sports news. Have a wonderful day, folks, and don't forget to catch us at 8 p.m. this evening for the Driving Malt Show.